The 4-Hour Work Week. Timothy Ferriss's book, The 4-Hour Work Week, offers us doable strategies for escaping the 9-to-5 grind and establishing a fulfilling and independent lifestyle. In order to establish a life of freedom and possibilities, the book highlights the significance of outsourcing, automation, and giving priority to things that truly matter. Read below to start living that life right now. American author, educator, and businessman Timothy Ferriss is the author of The 4-Hour Work Week. This book spent more than 4 years on the New York Times bestseller list. He worked 14 hours a day when he had this notion. Ferriss took a 3-week vacation to Europe since he was too busy and didn't have any free time. His departure from a workaholic lifestyle served as the inspiration for the book. You will learn effective strategies to boost your time and financial independence in the 4-Hour Work Week, which will allow you to take advantage of a variety of lifestyle choices. You can live the new rich lifestyle, which is defined by having, doing, and being what you really want by automating passive revenue streams and freeing yourself from pointless activities. For those who want to work for themselves and create a long-lasting work-life balance, this book is a vital resource. Overview. The main goal of the 4-Hour Work Week is to escape the tedious 9-to-5 grind and enable you to work remotely while still accomplishing outstanding results. The book stresses the value of working more efficiently and fewer hours while yet achieving comparable, if not better, results. You may transform your working habits and open up a world of opportunities while preserving your effectiveness and productivity by putting the tactics described in this book into practice. Adopt the tenets of the 4-Hour Work Week and set out on a path to freedom from the conventional labor market. Learn how to make the most of your time, improve your financial situation, and create a life where work is a tool to follow your passions rather than a barrier. This book is a priceless resource that will enable you to design a flexible and satisfying lifestyle that fits with your objectives. Whether you're a corporate worker or an ambitious entrepreneur looking for a better work-life balance, let's get started. First step, definition. Tim Ferriss breaks down the steps you'll take into 4 steps before we get into what you need to do to improve your time and financial freedom. Deal. D for definition. Basically, you need to know the rules and specify what you will do. E stands for elimination. After that, you will reset and get rid of anything superfluous. The next step is automation, which may involve outsourcing. L is for liberation, the last stage where you actually experience it. The amount of W's you control, what you do, when you do it, where you do it, and with whom you do it determines how much money is worth in real terms. This is what Tim refers to as the freedom multiplier. Tim highlights that you possess the ability to make choices and that you have options. You'll see what you can accomplish with the least amount of time and money if you can follow Tim's easy methods. In actuality, Tim thinks you might earn a lot more money by doing a lot less work than you do now. The guidelines. Retirement is insurance for the worst. Your strategy shouldn't include retirement planning. The goal is to make your career so fulfilling and attainable that you can keep working when you retire. Energy and interest fluctuate. Alternating periods of relaxation and work/activity is the greatest method to sustain your lifestyle. Schedule mini-retirements throughout your lifetime. During a work cycle, you will work to the best of your abilities and then take a break to give yourself the rest you need. Laziness is not less. Because society views people who put in more effort and longer hours as superior, many assume that individuals who put in less effort are lazy. This isn't accurate. You can succeed with less labor. It is always necessary to adjust the time. It will never seem like the appropriate moment to take care of your basic needs. Are you moving, having a baby, or leaving your job? The time is right, may never come. Therefore, you can't keep putting these things off until then. Don't ask for permission. Ask for forgiveness. This is crucial. In order to improve, you must learn from your errors. Don't let anyone turn you down or refuse you a chance. Try it first, and if it doesn't work, say sorry. Stress your strengths rather than your flaws. Your weaknesses will never be as strong or have as much of an effect on your life as your muscles. Improve your strengths instead than trying to correct all your little flaws, since that's where the outcomes are. While enhancing a strength can lead to greatness, fixing a weakness might simply result in mediocrity. Excessive things turn into their reverse. It is possible to have too much of a good thing. Keep this in mind because they will eventually become a burden. The answer is not just money. As mentioned earlier, further funding is required. Sometimes money is the answer. Absolute income is not as significant as relative income. Both the currency and time, typically the hour, are factors in relative income. The author of this book implies that distress is negative. You will only become weaker and less self-assured when you are grieving. Anyone who criticizes you or acts abusively is just hurting you. Look for those who encourage you, push you, and support your own development. Fear. Most people ignore fear and act as though it's something else entirely, according to Ferriss. They ignore their dread and maintain their optimism. Tim gives the example of a person who is unhappy but chooses not to leave their job because they are certain that their work will eventually become better or that their pay would rise. We don't normally refer to fear by its four-letter term because it can take many different forms. But fear is a powerful fear-inducing emotion. To overcome your fear of the unknown and enable yourself to jump, Tim advises you to do the following. Identify your horror and face it head-on. Think of the most terrible scenario that could occur. What does the worst-case scenario mean? Determine the worst-case scenario and how to remedy or repair it. Describe the expected results and any short-term or long-term advantages of the scenario you are thinking about. How would you handle your finances from here if you were fired today? Determine what you are fearfully avoiding or delaying. Is it costing you to avoid these things? This could be monetary, emotional, or physical. For what reason are you waiting? Clear and reset. Tim employs the idea of dreamlining rather than just goal setting. It's precisely what it sounds like. Thinking about your goals and making plans to achieve them. Tim highlights three key distinctions between goal setting and dreamlining. The objectives change from vague desires to specific actions. For the objectives to be successful, they must be unattainable. It emphasizes pursuits that bridge the void left by the removal of work. Having impressive possessions is not enough to live like a millionaire. You also need to do exciting activities. Tim's guide to building the life of your dreams. If you had no chance of failing, how would you respond? What if you were 10 times more intelligent than everyone else? Establish 2 distinct timelines, one for the near term, say 6 months, and one for the long term, 12 months. You must add 5 items to these timelines that you dream about, whether they are things you want to have, be, or do. Are you at a loss for words? If this hasn't motivated you, think about what you would do with 100 crores. What impact might this have on your dreams? And what would motivate you to get out of bed in the morning? What does it mean to be? To make each being actionable, turn it into a doing. Choose a task that would indicate you had accomplished it or an action that would best describe this state of being, which for dreams would make all the difference. Think about how achieving these 4 main objectives would alter your life. Calculate your target monthly income, TMI, for both timelines and the cost of these dreams. We implement this by taking into account your monthly cash flow, income, and expenses. Determine the target monthly income, TMI, needed to achieve your goals. Once you have your monthly income, divide it by 30 to determine your target daily income, or TDII. In the 6-month time frame, identify 3 actions for each of the 4 dreams and start right away. Dissect the dreams and begin taking quick action. To begin making your dreams come true, you need to take this initial step. Step 2, removal. 1. Efficiency and effectiveness. Tim clarifies the distinctions between efficiency and effectiveness. Acting in a way that advances your objectives is what it means to be effective. Additionally, being efficient is doing any task as productively as feasible. According to Tim, the issue is that the default strategy is frequently effective without taking efficacy into account. Therefore, it's crucial to realize that performing an unimportant task exceptionally well does not automatically make it necessary. Likewise, putting a lot of effort into a certain work does not necessarily make it vital. 2 laws to think about. The Pareto law. 80% of the outputs come from 20% of the inputs. 80% of the consequences flow from 20% of the causes. 80% of the results come from 20% of the effort and time. 20% of the products and customers account for 80% of company profits. 20% of investors and 20% of an individual portfolio realize 80% of all stock market gains. Parkinson's Law. According to Parkinson's Law, the perceived importance and intricacy of a work will increase in relation to the time necessary to complete it. The mystique of the impending deadline is what it is. Giving you a 24-hour deadline drives you to concentrate on execution, leaving you with no option but to finish the bare minimum. However, if I give you a week to finish the same assignment, it's like you're making a big deal out of nothing. Tim clarifies that there are two possible techniques to boosting productivity from this, and it's interesting to note that these approaches are technically mutually exclusive. To cut down on work time, only do the most vital tasks, 80/20ths. Reduce working hours to only charge those who are essential, Parkinson's Law. Tim demonstrates that combining the two ideas is the best strategy. Finding a small number of essential jobs that will account for the majority of your revenue is the greatest method to accomplish this. After that, set aside a little amount of time for these projects and schedule them with distinct due dates. Pose the following queries to yourself. If you had to work 2 hours a day and suffered a heart attack, how would you respond? What if you had to work 2 hours a week after suffering a second heart attack? How would you respond? If you had a gun to your head and had to give up 4 or 5 time-consuming activities, what would you take away? What are the top 3 things I do to pass the time and feel like I've accomplished something? Which 20% of individuals provide 80% of your happiness and help you advance? And which 20% are responsible for 80% of your sadness, rage, and self-doubt? Will I be happy with my day if this is all I manage to do today? Are you making things up to get out of doing the crucial things? 2. Stay in the dark. We've all heard the adage, ignorance is bliss, and Tim is adamant that ignorance can be both beneficial and pleasant. You must learn to ignore or reroute any interruptions or information that is unimportant, irrelevant, or unactionable. 3. Disruptions. According to Tim, there are 3 interruptions that frequently prevent a task from being completed from beginning to end. Wasters of time. Meetings, phone conversations, emails, internet browsing, and conversations are all examples of time wasters. Most of the time, ignoring these has little repercussions. Tim offers some advice on how to minimize time wasters. In the office, email is most likely the biggest disruption. Send and read as few emails as possible. Verify that the email notice and sound are off. Make an effort to check your email just twice a day. Tim recommends starting at midday and then again at 4 o'clock. With this time, you'll get the most replies from emails you've already sent. When you receive a call, screen it. You are not required to respond to all of them. Additionally, make fewer phone calls. According to Tim, you should have 2 phone numbers. You can designate one as your office line and save your cell number for emergencies. The majority of problems and communications pertaining to employment are not urgent. Guide your clients, coworkers, etc. First by email, then by phone, and lastly in person is the order of communication. Respond to voicemails as soon as you can by email if someone has left you one. This will assist in teaching others how to get in touch with you. The purpose of meetings should be to settle on a predetermined condition, not to identify the issue. Establish the start and end timings of meetings and calls if you are unable to stop them from happening. Make sure you don't stray from the planned topic and solely talk about it. Time-consuming. The second most frequent source of Tim's disruptions is time consumers. These might be characterized as frequent, repeated tasks. These are small chores that disrupt a job's workflow from beginning to end. Among the anticipated time consumers are examining emails, answering emails, speaking on the phone, performing customer service duties, reporting sales or money, running errands, or doing personal work, frequent manual updates, anything that is often repeated. According to Tim, it might take up to 45 minutes to psychologically restart an activity once it has been interruption. According to statistics, these disruptions take up 28% of your 9 to 5 workdays. Waiting until you have a lot of work to do is the best way to deal with these time wasters. For example, wait until you have numerous phone calls to make or a large number of emails to read and respond to. This method, known as batching, is an excellent way to allow minor chores to take a break from more involved, important work. Failures of empowerment. When someone needs your consent to proceed, empowerment failures are the third crucial hiccup. This occurs when they must approach you before they can proceed with their assignment, or whether you need to see someone else before you can start a job. Empowerment failures occur when those you collaborate with are unable to perform a task from beginning to end without authorization or additional information. Being able to make as many judgments as feasible and having access to the necessary information are essential for an employee to be able to work as efficiently as possible. You should provide your workers or contractors as much information as you can and let them make decisions without your consent if you want things to go as smoothly as possible as an entrepreneur. If you feel like you're being micromanaged, sit down with your boss and explain that having more information and decision-making power will help you both by increasing productivity and reducing interruptions as well as your boss's workload. 4. Make the rules work for you. To avoid delaying more important initiatives, batch routine menial activities, restrict access to your time, and require individuals to specify their requirements before you spend time with them. People should not interrupt you. You will discover your lifestyle if you can identify your concentration. Step 3. Automating. When the time is ripe, Tim advises investing in a remote personal assistant. It implies that you can delegate some of your job to them, which gives you more time to focus on other projects and gives you the opportunity to get comfortable giving commands. It also helps position you as a leader. You need to understand how to be in charge. It should be simple to decide when to hire a remote personal assistant because it is low risk, inexpensive, and time efficient. Purchase one even if you don't now believe you need one. You have the chance to experiment with this method of working. However, what about the price? According to Tim, the majority of people ask themselves, if I can do it better? According to Tim, it's not about the money but more about having more time to be creative and inventive rather than engrossed in routine everyday duties. Tim clarifies that anything that can be removed should never be automated. Additionally, if a work can be automated, don't assign it. The goal is not to waste other people's time. Your time and theirs are equally valuable. Where should I start? Regardless of whether you currently require an assistant or not, hire one. List the things that have been on your to-do list the longest. Additionally, note any tasks you now perform that a virtual assistant could complete. Could a VA step in here anytime you're annoyed or interrupted? List your top 5 non-work-related time-consuming duties, along with 5 leisurely personal assignments. To stay informed, it's essential to coordinate your work and exchange calendars and timetables. Autopilot. Tim talks about the next step, which is to have a product to sell. It should be downloaded or shippable so that you may get around the restrictions of an hourly model. Tim advises you to start by choosing a friendly, reasonably accessible market. Creating demand from scratch is difficult. Tapping into an existing market is considerably simpler. Hold off on looking for a consumer until you have a product. Identify the market, learn about the consumer, and then develop a product for them. Determine your existing knowledge by examining the social, professional, and industry groups you are a part of or have access to. You don't need to pick up any new knowledge. Determine which groups you can access for their blogs and periodicals. Tim's next move is to come up with ideas for products rather than making an investment. One sentence should sum up the primary advantage. The consumer should pay between $50 and $200 for it. A $100 product should not cost more than $10, 12.50. Thus aim for an 8-10x markup. The manufacturing process should take no more than 3 or 4 weeks. It ought to be completely explicable in a top-notch internet FAQ. Reselling a product is option 1. Licensing a product is option 2. And creating a product is option 3. Information products are inexpensive, quick to produce, and difficult for rivals to imitate. Examining. Ask people to buy, not if they would buy, to get a good sense of commercial viability. Testing your products on a small scale is the third phase. Determine the competitors. It is your responsibility to develop a more attractive offer than the ones that are already available. All you need is a basic website with 1 to 3 pages, which should take 1 to 3 hours of labor. Consider adding extra credibility indications to your offer to set it apart from the competition. Testimonials, improved selection, free shipping, and a greater warranty. Use brief Google AdWords advertising campaigns to test the offer, 3 hours to set up and 5 days of passive observation. Invest or divest. Find the losers, eliminate them, produce the winner, and get ready to sell. Lack of management. One of the most important parts in Tim's approach is designing your business such that it can operate on its own after you have a product, whether it be online or in physical form. You should use this model as a rough guide while creating an autonomous virtual architecture. If at all feasible, choose contract outsourcing firms that specialize in a single function rather than freelancers so that you can replace them without interfering with your business in the event that someone gets fired, quits, or performs poorly. Employ teams of skilled individuals that can report in depth and switch each other out as needed. Give them formal consent to make the cheapest choices without first consulting you, and make sure that all outsourcers are prepared to interact with one another to resolve issues. I started at less than $100 and rose to $400 after 2 months. Step 4. Freedom. Go live your life now. To get toward full-time remote work, take Tim's 5 steps. Boost your investment. To make the cost of losing you greater, get the firm to spend money on training. Off-site, demonstrate higher output. Make it a fruitful day by working from home or calling in sick. Get the measurable business benefit ready. Get your findings ready to demonstrate the quantifiable advantages of working from home. Make a revocable trial period suggestion. Begin with just 1 day every week. Extend the time spent remotely. Work your way up to spending several days a week at home. Then, finally, working remotely full-time. Giving up. I have quit 3 jobs and been fired from most of the others, the book's author stated. Resignation is frequently a blessing, even though it can occasionally come as a shock and leave you rushing to get well. You can't spend the rest of your life in the incorrect job. Someone else makes the decision for you. Resigning or losing your job isn't the end of the world. Tim says, it's not irreversible. Leaving a job does not mean that you will never work again. It's only transitory. You'll still be able to cover your expenses. Tim's method is to provide you with some cash flow before you leave your current position. In the near term, you might have to cut back on some wasteful spending, but if you've done it correctly, you'll still be able to pay your expenses. Only for a short time is your resume rained. On your resume, it makes a difference, and because you stand out from the crowd, you might obtain more interviews. Mini retirements. Tim aims to dispel the myth that you have to wait until your career is over to embrace retirement. Rather than saving it all until the end, he advises taking small retirements throughout your life. Before you return to your home, Tim advises you to move somewhere fresh for a period of 1 to 6 months. It's not a vacation or a way to escape from life. Rather, it's a chance to continue living in a different setting, evaluate your current way of life, and cut out things that aren't required. Take it slow and easy, giving yourself time to think and make plans. Tim argues that most of the time, people can have time and financial independence but yet become entangled in the extremely stressful and money-obsessed mentality of materialistic businesses. Having enough money and time to pursue your interests is only a small part of true freedom. Preparing for a mini-retirement. Think about your cash flow and assets. Decide where you would like to live in mini-retirement. The location of your mini-retirement should be practical. Get ready for your journey. The countdown is as follows. Take 3 months off and get rid of anything superfluous. 2 months out, use credit cards to automate billing. Reroute mail to a pal 1 month out. 2 weeks out, scan and save digital copies of important documents, such as identification, credit card, and insurance records. Reduce the number of phone plans you have. Choose a work schedule for the week you'll be away. Store additional possessions. 2 days out, unhook the battery lines, store the car, and add something to the fuel tank. When you are there, schedule a 1-month apartment viewing and take a bus or bike tour of the city. After deducting work, adding life. But I've always wanted this. How am I supposed to be bored? According to Tim, it's quite common to struggle to get used to your newfound independence. You can be bored and unsure about what to do next, even though it's what you've always wanted to do. It will be difficult if you enjoy continually pushing yourself to achieve new heights and ambitions. According to Tim, it's quite common to find oneself pondering the major concerns of your purpose, meaning, and mission in life. Keep in mind the following to help you cope with the tension this may cause. Forget it if you are unable to define it or take action. You will rank in the top 1% of performers worldwide and avoid the majority of philosophical pain if you only take one thing away from this book. Tim recommends learning something new while you're on vacation and in your mini-retirement. Make the decision to set aside some time for a particular activity or skill that you've always wanted to do but haven't had time for, like learning how to scoreboard or a new language. The top 13 new rich mistakes. Putting work for work's sake, W4W, and losing sight of dreams. To pass the time, they are emailing and micromanaging. Addressing issues that your coworkers or outsourcers can tackle. Assisting coworkers or outsourcers with non-crisis problems or the same issue repeatedly. Pursuing clients when you have enough cash flow to support your non-financial endeavors, especially untrained or foreign prospects. Answering emails that don't lead to a sale, a FAQ, or an autoresponder can help. Working from home where you sleep or where you should unwind. Failing to conduct a comprehensive 80-20 audit of your personal and professional lives every 2 to 4 weeks. Aiming for unending perfection rather than excellence or sufficiency, both in one's personal and professional life. Exaggerating small issues and details as a justification for not working. Making non-urgent problems serious in order to defend work. Considering a single endeavor, career, or product to be the culmination of your life. Disregarding life's social benefits. In conclusion, important lessons learned. You must be efficient and effective. Tasks are not necessary just because you perform more of them and spend more time on them. Steer clear of time wasters, time consumers, and empowerment failures. The interruptions, delegation, and automation are essential. Even if you don't need a virtual assistant just yet, get one. When preparing to develop a product, identify the market and the client first, and then develop a product for the target market. Hold off on developing the product. Instead of storing money for your final years, take little retirements throughout your life. Book review of the 4-Hour Work Week. Timothy Ferriss' groundbreaking manual, The 4-Hour Work Week, questions the accepted wisdom regarding labor and output. Tim offers doable tactics and mental adjustments to break away from the 9-to-5 grind and establish a fulfilling, independent lifestyle. He stresses the value of automation, outsourcing, and setting priorities for the things that really count. Tim inspires readers to embrace lifestyle design, rethink their relationship with work, and follow their passions with captivating tales and practical guidance. For people looking for a more effective, adaptable, and fulfilling way to approach work and life, the 4-Hour Work Week is a revolutionary guide. Thank you. And there you have it, a whirlwind tour through the pages of the 4-Hour Work Week. I hope this summary has piqued your interest and inspired you to pick up this book. Whether you're a seasoned reader or a budding bookworm, there's something for everyone in this captivating story. As always, I'd love to hear your thoughts on the book and this video. Did I miss anything important? What did you think of the ending? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel for more bookish treasures. And if you're feeling extra generous, consider sharing this video with your friends and family. Until next time, happy reading.